I didn't see you there, Abigail. Please sit down. Can I offer you something to drink? Water, coffee, tea? Tea it is. I'm pleased you accepted my invitation for this session. Dr. Bloom is a brilliant psychiatrist, but hearing a second opinion can be quite beneficial. How are you liking your therapy with Alana so far? I'm glad to hear it. As I said, she is a brilliant and very personable psychiatrist. I believe you have also been speaking a lot to Dr. Lecter and Will Graham. Has talking to them been helpful? Good. As I understand it, they were the ones that saved your life after your father cut your throat. Good friends, indeed. I had a chance to talk with Dr. Lecter recently in preparation for your therapy. He seems to genuinely care about you. Since this is the first time we've met, I'd like to do a patient baseline with you, if that's okay. Good. I feel that it is important to note before we begin that anything you share with me today will stay private under patient confidentiality laws, so please do be as open as possible. We'll start with a Rorschach test. I presume you know how this goes, but in case you don't, I'll present several different cards to you. You will respond with what you notice about the cards, how they make you feel, and what they make you think of. Do you have any questions? No? Well, then let's begin. This card makes you feel angry. Why is that? It reminds you of your house. It was sold, wasn't it? To pay the families of the girls your dad killed. An unfortunate outcome given you are college bound. What about this one? Blood. Well, you've had plenty of that recently, haven't you? Whose blood? A deer's. How does it make you feel? Centered. In control. Did you hunt a lot with your dad before all of this? Familial bonding is a way for a parent to pass on their knowledge and traits and grow closer to their offspring. It is an essential survival trait. Hunting with your dad doesn't have to mean anything more than that, Abigail. Let's try another. What do you think of this? Fear. What are you afraid of? Of course, the copycat killer is still out there, aren't they? If I remember my discussion with Will Graham correctly, the first copycat body, Cassie Boyle, was what started him on the path to finding your dad, Garrett Jacob Hobbs. Something about the way the body was left in the field, impaled on the antlers of a deer, made him think of preservation or honoring or something. They still haven't found Cassie's lungs, you know. Of course, that's how we know it wasn't your dad and it was the copycat. Your dad would have honored every part of her, wouldn't he? But what about the two other copycat deaths? Melissa Schur, your friend, and Nicholas Boyle, the brother of Cassie Boyle. Have you given any thought to why the copycat killed them? It is quite relevant, actually. We cannot begin to help you recover until your mind comes to terms with all that you've been through these past few months. Now, why do you think the copycat killed them? Think hard. That aligns with what I had been thinking as well. Melissa Schur, your friend, was left by the copycat in the attic of your father's cabin, impaled on the antlers of a deer. The copycat left her to send a message. Why else would they have put Melissa on such prominent display? They probably knew you were visiting the cabin that very day and prepared it especially for you, Dr. Lecter, and Will. Now, the real question is, why Nicholas Boyle? And why in such a mysterious way? I know it isn't official yet, but with the boy gone and such close proximity to you and Melissa, it has to be the copycat. Yes, you're right. It seems the copycat is targeting people close to you and in contact with, or in contact to, Will and Hannibal. But if the copycat is toying with them, why not display Nicholas Boyle like Melissa? If it's a game, why not have fun? I'm sure we'll know the real reason once we catch them. Any guess to who who it could be? Who do you think it could be? I thought not. The conclusions are grim when you think about the few you have been in close contact with. Anyways, back to the cards. That is an interesting reaction to this card. Feeling trapped, almost suffocated, you say? Very interesting. Analysis of this card mentions patients who are in the midst of manipulation connect with it particularly well. Yes, I know, but he's gone, Abigail. Your father is gone. How could you owe anyone anything anymore? The only way his absence wouldn't absolve you of this guilt is if Jack Crawford's suspicions of you are correct. Dr. Bloom is adamant that you had no part in the murders of the Minnesota Shrike. But how can we know for sure? Yes, I know that's the story you've been spinning, Alana. But she can be a bit naive, has a habit of not seeing the truth even if it invites her over for dinner. Your father, Garrett Jacob Hobbs, abducted, killed, and dismembered 8 young women from 8 different university campuses all across Minnesota. According to the conclusions of the FBI, he also fed the remains of these women to you and your mother, as well as construct throw pillows out of their hair. Hence the lack of any real evidence besides the throw pillows, really. The specifics of the victims are particularly interesting as well. They all looked just like you, Abigail. Do you know what that means? Because I think you do. Your father became so obsessed with you, with the idea of protecting you. The thought of his daughter moving away for college drove him to murder these 8 other young women. It was the only way he could stop himself from killing you. You're a smart girl, Abigail. I think you knew this, and I think you helped your father abduct these girls because you knew it would be in your best interest. Yes, as you put it, if this was true, what would that make you? What type of person would you be? No, not a sociopath. Abigail, you are a survivor. So you see, you don't have a reason to feel trapped anymore. That threat you so carefully escaped is gone forever. Unless you've gone off and found another Garrett Jacob Hobbs, all that is left is to put as much distance as possible between you and the person you had to be when your father was still alive. On a related note, I want you to look at this card. Yes, this one. As I feared, you've met another Garrett Jacob Hobbs. What did he make you do, Abigail? You killed Nicholas Boyle. He attacked you at your own home, and you killed him in self-defense. Who knows this? I am not surprised by that. Hannibal Lecter's therapy and methods are unorthodox. Excuse me. But they do get results, don't they? Be that as it may, everything I've said so far tonight stands, Abigail. You need to distance yourself from who you were before. You can't grow and heal as a person unless you're allowed to be a whole person. One who is free of the sway and schemes and visions of others. With this situation, it reminds me of the plight of the entwined sinners in Dante's Inferno. The entwined sinners, or doubles, are recurring pairs of shades, condemned souls, lost souls, throughout hell. They serve to explore how sin is often committed in partnership. Let's find it. Line 124 of Canto 32 from Dante's Inferno, Book 1 of the Divine Comedy. And when we'd left him in that icy bed, I saw two frozen together in one hole, so that the one head capped the other head. And as starved men tear bread, this tore the pole of the one beneath, chewing with ravenous jaw where brain meets marrow just beneath the skull. With no more furious zest did Titius gnaw the scalp of Menalippus than he ate the brain pan and other tissues raw. O thou that in such bestial wise dost sate thy rage on him, thou munchest, tell me why. On this condition, I said, that if thy hate seems justified, I undertake that I, knowing who you are, and knowing all his crime, will see thee righted in the world on high, unless my tongue wither before the time. Answered in Canto 33. Lifting his mouth up from the horrid feast, the sinner wiped it on the hair that grew atop the head, whose rear he had laid waste. Then he began, Thou bidst me to renew a grief so desperate that the thought alone, before I voice it, cracks my heart in two. Yet if indeed my words, like seedlings sown, shall fruit to shame this traitor whom I tear, then shalt thou see me speak and weep in one. What man thou art, or what hath brought thee here, I know not, but I judge thee, Florentine, if I can trust the witness of my ear. First learn our names. I was Count Ugolin, and he Archbishop Roger. Hearken well wherefore I use him thus, this neighbor of mine. That once I trusted him, and that I fell into the snare that he contrived somehow, and so was seized and slain, I need not tell. What thou canst not have learned, I'll tell thee now, how bitter cruel my death was here and then. If he has done me injury, judge thou. A narrow loophole in the dreadful den, called famine, after me, and which, meseems, shall be a dungeon yet for many men, had filtered through to me the pallid gleams of many changing moons, before one night unveiled the future to my haunted dreams. I saw this man, a lord and master of might, chasing the wolf and wolf cubs on the hill, which shuts out Lucca from the Pisan's sight. His hounds were savage, swift, and keen of skill, and many a Sismond, Gwaland, and Lefranc, like huntsmen, rode before him to the kill. I saw how father and sons wearied and sank. After a short, quick run, I saw the dread, sharp teeth that tore at bleeding throat and flank. Think that my heart misgave, and if thou keep from tears, thou art right cruel. If thou for this weep not, at what then art thou wont to weep? By now they'd waked the hour at which our mess was daily brought near. Ill dreams had stirred our hearts and filled us with unquietness. Then at the foot of that grim tower I heard men nailing up the gate far down below. I gazed in my son's eyes without a word. I wept not. I seemed turned to stone all through. They wept. I heard my little Anselm say, Father, what's come to thee? Why look'st thou so? I shed no tear, nor answered, all that day, nor the next night, until another sun rose on the world, and when the first faint ray stole through into that dismal cell of stone, and eyeing those four faces, I could see in every one the image of my own. I gnawed at both my hands for misery, and they, who thought it was for hunger plain and simple, rose at once and said to me, O Father, it will give us much less pain if thou wilt feed on us. Thy gift at birth was this sad flesh, strip thou it off again. To spare them grief I calmed myself. Hard earth, hadst thou no pity? Couldst thou not gape wide? That day and next we all sat mute. The fourth crept slowly in on us. Then Gatto cried and dropped down at my feet. My father, why dost thou not help me? So he said, and died. As thou dost see me here, I saw him die, and one by one the other three died too. From the 5th day to the 6th, already I was blind. I took to fumbling them over. 2 long days I groped there, calling on the dead. Then famine did what sorrow could not do. He ceased, and rolled his eyes asquint, and sped to plant his teeth, which, like a dog's, were strong, upon the bone back in the wretched head. As you can see, over the course of that canto, we learn that the man eating the head of another was doing so as reprisal for the actions his partner committed before damnation. One was the master of the town and agreed to let the other man ravage his subjects at the clawed and toothed point of dogs. His betrayal of humanity landed him here, forever entwined with the one who assured his damnation. Abigail, you need to escape this, or you'll be entwined forever, just like with your father before. I'm glad you understand. Now, let's get you calmed down, and then I think our session tonight will be done. You know what you need to do. I have faith in you. Dante. I wanted to thank you all for watching and for the continued support on all of my other videos. Honestly, getting over 1,000 views on the first Hannibal video and over 1,000 views on the Plague Doctor video is amazing. I never thought any of my work would be seen by that many people, and I'm glad that people are enjoying it. I make these videos because I like to and I want to, and I find ASMR to be a fun medium. Work and life has been busy lately, what with the polar vortex. Finding time to record videos when it's quiet and you don't have to have the heat on in fear of freezing to death has been difficult. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like these types of videos, I will be making more of them when I get around to it. And I have also uploaded all of the audio from all of my videos to a Bandcamp page that I have linked in the description. You can download it all in lossless quality for free, or MP3 or whatever, and listen to it wherever without advertisements. My videos shouldn't be advertised anyways, but you know, anything's possible with YouTube. Please let me know if you want to hear more from Dante. He has been my muse lately, so you'll probably get more videos including him. Thank you, and I hope everyone's staying safe and that you enjoyed the video.